Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Forex breakdown tonight. My name is Gail Mercer. I am the founder of Traders Help Desk, and I'm going to be your hostess for the night. Now, before we get started, I would like to thank everyone for joining the webinar tonight, and I would also like to ask you to read over the Nadex risk disclaimer. And basically, anytime you're trading, then there is risk involved, even with the limited risk environment of Nadex. And basically, you should never trade with money that you cannot afford to lose. Okay? Now, for those of you that do not know me, my name is Gail Mercer. I have been trading for well over 15 years now. I do develop my own custom indicators. I've also published several books on Nadex binary options, spreads, currencies, and volume analysis. I've also been a frequent contributor to Stocks and Commodities magazine. I'm also a recognized authority on volume analysis, and I've been a speaker at Traders Expo, Traders World, and the Wyckoff Volume Conference, as well as the TradeStation user groups. Now, what I want to do tonight is actually go through what my process is every Sunday night. Even though tomorrow is a holiday, I still go through this process every single week because it kind of identifies, okay, am I going to, number one, do I even want to look at the markets tomorrow? And number two, do I need to focus on the higher time frames or do I need to focus on the lower time frames? And one way I do that is by sitting here Sunday night when everything's all nice and quiet and going through the markets and saying, what can I expect this week? Okay, so what we're going to do is start, and this is where I go to for Forex. It's forexfactory.com. Okay. Can everyone see my forexfactory.com website? I hope. Okay. So this is just giving us an overview of today. What I do is just click on the little green dot there, and I actually highlight from the 17th to the 23rd, which is for this week. You can also set the default view for this week, and then I click apply the settings. Now, in addition to that, I also do a filter. You can see that, like tomorrow's a bank holiday, and then you have yellows and oranges and reds. I only care about the red reports. Those are the ones that are typically really going to move the market. So I come over to the filter and I just uncheck the orange and the yellow. And I don't want to see the New Zealand and I don't want to see the CNY. So then I apply the filter again. Now I can actually see the reports that are going to affect my Forex market. Okay. Now, the one thing that I would notice right off the bat is, okay, tomorrow is a holiday, but tomorrow night you have the Aussie Monetary Policy meeting minutes. Then on Wednesday, you have the FOMC meeting minutes. You have the Aussie employment change and unemployment rate. That's usually good for a real short-term trade. It's not going to affect me long-term. Then really that's pretty much it, other than, a couple of speeches. I don't try to trade the speeches, but I typically will not be in the market when these people are speaking, especially right now, because it can create a lot of volatility. So like Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, probably not going to want to trade. And I'm probably not going to trade after about 10 o'clock on Friday. Now I can tell that just from looking at the reports for the week. Also on Wednesday, probably not going to want to be in the market for the FOMC meeting minutes. It is not as volatile as the rate statement, but depending on the minutes and the release of the information, it can create spikes, okay? So once I have done that, I go over and start looking at my trading platform. Now, I use multi-charts as my trading platform. And one of the big reasons is because of this, what they call the scanner, and it allows me to track all of my currencies on different time frames. Okay, can everyone see the multi-charts desktop now? Okay, so I'm not really going to pay attention tonight to the 6 hour or the 1 hour. Those time frames are for my intraday look. Okay, what I want to really pay attention to right now would be the daily and the weekly. I want to see, okay, number one, is it approaching a level of support or resistance? And number two, am I going to have to watch these higher time frames this week? And sometimes you really don't need to watch them that closely if you're intraday trading. This week may be a week that you need to watch them, okay? And that's what I need to find out. So the first thing that I'm looking at really is this column right here. And you can see it says PK 3.1 or PK 3.9. Okay, it's on the daily. Now, the reason that my attention is drawn to that is because this is dark red, this is dark blue. So that tells me that more than likely between tonight and tomorrow, maybe tomorrow night, the USD Swiss franc is going to be probably retracing. In other words, there's traders that are long that will probably be taking profits. Now, there's a couple of different ways you can use this information. If you have a bias to the short side, because this is, you know, when people are taking profits from a long position, that causes the market to come down. So you could do what is called a counter trend trade. In other words, you're going to trade it while they're taking profits, or you can simply wait for the profit taken to stop, and then you enter the resumption of the trend. Okay, does everybody understand that? So in this case, for example, if I click on the USD Swiss franc, this should be moving down towards the ATR. Okay, the ATR is down here. Okay, at 99.82. Okay, now when I look at this, I say, okay, this could come down here. Okay, and I want to snap a line on there, because if it does come back to there, that might be a potential entry point. Now, a counter trend trader might say, hey, you know, right now price is trading at 1.0045 and it has the potential to come down to 0.9980. Okay, well, that's 60 pips. They may want to take advantage of it. Whereas a trend trader is going to say, you know, I'm going to let it get close to here and then I may enter it. Do you understand that? So it's two potential ways to enter that. Okay. Now, the next question to me would be, okay, is the weekly trending as well? The one thing that I would immediately notice would be that this is overextended right here. I need to change the color of that. So this is overextended here. Now, this is what typically happens with the markets, okay? It goes up, it comes back down, and then it comes back to test this high, which actually is more about right here, okay? So when this approaches this blue line that I just marked, I may still have a long entry, and I would be in it until it comes back and it tests this level right here, which is right at 1.0100. Okay. Now, if it hesitated, that tells me, hey, I need to come out of it. Does everybody understand that one? And this is what enables me to immediately look at the market and say, this is what I may or may not do. Hold on just a minute because GoToMeeting is not cooperating. Can everyone still hear me? Okay, guys, can you hear me again? Okay, let me get my screen back up. Oh, wouldn't you know, GoToMeeting just crashed on somebody. Um, give me just a second here, guys. Oh, okay, I've got it. Okay, can everyone see my screen again? And this time we're not going to mark on the chart because for some reason it really messed it up. Okay, so I hope everyone actually understood what I was talking about, where, if you have a counter trend trade view, To me, this retracement back down to the ATR would be a short-term trade, whereas a trend trade or a longer-term view would be, hey, I believe that the market is going to go up. Yeah, people may take some profit, but then it's going to resume. Okay. So that to me would be the longer term. Now, what does that mean? That means, well, maybe you would want to do, binaries on one side of it and touch brackets on another side, or vice versa. Okay. And this is where I like using all of the products from Nadex, not just one particular product. Okay. The next one you could look at would be, the British pound. And again, I'm really focused on either the daily or the weekly. I'm not looking to enter a trade tonight or even tomorrow. Tomorrow's a holiday. I already know it's going to be slow. Okay, now notice that this is red. So that tells me that if people are taking profits, okay, then it's going to be moving upwards. Okay, so again, I would anticipate it to come back to where the ATR is, which is 3006. And again, I just put a line on my chart to let me know, hey, this is where I anticipate it to come. I'm going to change that line to red. And that just lets me know when it gets here, I would be anticipating a short position. Now, I would also want to look at the weekly to see if this is trending to the downside. And, even though this is blue right now with this stochastics overbought or indicating that it is overbought, I would still say we're probably going to go back and try to test 2456, but I need to watch the 2625 area. Okay, simply because there's a plus sign there, and that tells me there may be some support there. Okay, and you can also see that every time they came back and they were testing this low, you can see that they were rejecting it. So that tells me this is a strong area of support. So again, just areas I would want to watch. Now, the next thing I would want to do is say, okay, do we have any markets that are already overextended that I should not be going in for a trend trade? Okay. And again, we're focused on the daily and the weekly. This column here is the RSI values. Okay. So when I look at this, I can say, okay, this is moving down, not oversold because it's not below negative 50. It's over, this is moving down, this is moving down. The USD CAD is right at 0. That means it could literally go either way. Okay. The USD Swiss franc is at 27, which is moving up, moving up. Okay. So now you kind of have a brief overview of, where the dailies are going. You can also see here on the weekly, okay, the Aussie on the daily and the weekly are moving together. The euro on the daily and weekly are moving together. They're both red. The British pound dollar is a very, very strong up. So, this could be saying that it's fixing to go back into that downtrend. The USD CAD, it's really not doing anything either way with the RSI. Okay. You've got 0 up here. You've got a dark blue 5 down here. So that just tells me it's decreasing. Okay. Then you have blue 27 on the USD Swiss franc, 10 down here. Both of these are trending to the upside. Again, this is where I'm looking for that retracement. And then on the USD JPY, you have the daily is moving up, but the USD JPY RSI on the weekly is moving down. So you have some conflict between these two, meaning these I may want to short-term trade. Why would I want to short-term trade those? Because there's no confluence between the time frames. One's moving up, one's moving down. So that tells me, well, it could be changing on the higher time frames. So I'm going to use the lower time frames and do some shorter term trades like the 2-hour trades. Okay. Any questions on that? Let's see, which platform exactly can I use with Nadex? Bruno, you can use the Nadex platform, or you can use, a different trading platform. For example, I'm using multi-charts. I also use TradingView. Okay. What's the difference between the two? Well, with, TradingView, I can't get the overview that I can get with this one screen. Does everybody understand that? Okay. If I'm only trading, one or two markets, I'm probably just going to use TradingView. But when you're trading, the more instruments that you're trading, the more you need to be able to filter, your trade setups. And for example, right now on the USD CAD, now I would not be trading tonight into tomorrow. Why? Because it's a major holiday for the US. Okay. And I'm not going to even bother to trade it. Okay. But let's say that this was happening on Tuesday. Okay. Um, I would want to say, okay, I need to look at this because you've got this oversold status here. Okay. And this is on a 1 hour. So if I move these over and probably come back here, you can see this is my 1 hour time frame. And do you see how oversold this is right now? Now, what would make it better? Oh man, it would be really sweet if all of this was overextended. But right now it's just this one, which tells me, hey, we may get a retracement up to here, and then it could push back down. On the USD JPY example, do you just reference, do you go short on the daily or weekly time frame? I wouldn't do either one. This is where I would go down in time, Axel. And look to see what it's doing, because actually what it's showing me between the 6 hour and the daily, they're long, but then the hourly and the weekly is short. So that's where you're really going to have to go down in time and analyze your charts. Maybe take shorter term trades like a 2 hour versus a multi-day trade. Okay. And again, with this USD CAD being overextended, that just tells me, hey, I may have a setup come in on that later. Okay. Again, if you're a counter trend trader, if there's enough room for profits, you could take a counter trend trade back to the ATR and then back down. Okay. That's your prerogative. Sometimes I do that depending on how many pips of profit there is for a potential gain there. You also see that on the USD Swiss franc. Okay. If you go to the USD Swiss franc, it's also oversold on the 1 hour time frame. Again, would I do this on a Sunday night with Monday being a major US holiday? No. But we're going to be doing these sessions every Sunday night so we can kind of focus on, hey, what have we got coming up this week? Okay. And in this case, again, you have the same scenario where this is overextended. Okay. Because these two are not overextended, I'd be looking for a retracement back up to about 0061, maybe even 0056, and then a potential entry. Okay. But right now, for me, I know as it stands right now, I would probably be more interested in focusing on the Aussie dollar, the Euro dollar, and the British pound dollar versus focusing on the USD JPY. Now, the US CAD and the USD Swiss franc, those do not open on the Nadex binary option side until 8 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. If you're trading the binaries, and I would probably wait for that to open, because I think this is where you're going to get the pullback. The CAD just doesn't know what it's going to do yet. Neither does the yen. So the only one I'm really interested in would be the USD Swiss franc. Now, that one, I'd be inclined to use a touch bracket, but I don't think that trade's probably going to come in until tomorrow night, maybe Tuesday morning. No, Channing. This is one of the indicators that I developed, so it's not in the Nadex platform. Now, if I'm going to be, for example, you see that the Aussie, the Euro, and the British Pound are all red here. That tells me they're moving down. But do you see how these three up here, which is the 1 hour, do you see how they're all blue? Because that tells me that this is just undergoing retracements. And the one I'd be looking at would be the British Pound. The ADX being at 70, with this being at 46, that would be one that's interesting to me. This is what I was talking about. These are the sweet ones where you see everything is overextended in one direction. This, and it still may reach up to this white dot here at 29.44. And this is one, if this were Tuesday morning, I may be interested in getting up at 3 o'clock to trade that. And the reason is because more likely than not, it's potentially going to come back and test the 27.73 area. Okay. And if it reaches that area and then it weakens, you know, you might consider a long position, you know, but still it has to come up here and it has to form reversal bars. If you followed my other videos, you know I trade reversal bars a lot. All of my entries come off of a reversal bar. So this is one I like to say I have it on my radar. Okay. And I do make notes on my trades. And this is one that I would have on my radar. In other words, I know that around 29.40 is where you're going to potentially form support. It's going to be between 29.40 potentially and 29.07. So now that I've identified this, I can bring it back to TradingView on my iPad and just, you know, watch it while I'm watching TV, or when I'm getting up in the morning drinking coffee. Then I'm going to go and look at this and see where it's at. Okay. Again, tomorrow's a holiday. So am I eager to enter a trade? Of course not. But this is, you know, I do this so I know where the potential levels are that I want to look at if price gets here. Okay. You also see right now, it tells me that price is near an ATR for the USD Swiss franc. That's where all of my entries generally come from. So again, if you go over to the 6 hour, and you can see that this is telling you, okay, you potentially have an entry over here at the ATR, right? But you would be going into a long position. But again, this is where looking at these higher time frames, you know, this is telling you don't take it. You know, don't even really think about taking that trade right now. Okay? Because if you take this, you could potentially have a loss. Okay? And why? Because number one, you've had this trend divergence here, okay? And you're also getting a pink dot here, which is going to, this identifies when they're taking profits. So that's going to push it back down to this ATR, okay? So this is an area where I'm just going to sit on my hands, let them take their profits, and then rejoin the party. Does everybody understand that? Any questions tonight, guys? Can this be used for 5-minute and 20-minute trades? I'm new to Nadex. If you're talking about the methodology, Marvin, yes, it can be. But just remember, if you're new to Nadex, does that mean you're new to trading, Marvin? Okay, if you're new to trading, it's going to be harder to do the 5 and the 20-minute trades because you have to think faster. Oh, multi-charts is wonderful. I actually have training videos for my clients on multi-charts because there's a lot you can do with it. Which indicators do I use? I use indicators that I've developed myself. I know it's a basic question, but how long? No, how do I know how long the scenario could change if I compare or sell a ticket? Example, if I compare a ticket and is in decline, how can I predict how long it will return and how I could make a profit? That's probably beyond the scope of this presentation, Bruno. I like to tell my clients, the market's going to do what the market wants to do when the market wants to do it. You know, like this indicator is predicting that price will come back to the ATR. Does that mean for sure it will happen? No. You know, how long will it take? Well, that's a daily chart. It's going to take at least a day. What's the platform I'm using? It's multi-charts. The same people that do TradingView do multi-charts. It's just a heavier program. It's what I call heavy duty. I do have multi-chart videos, Kathy, but they're generally just for clients that have purchased one of the packages. Because, you know, I go through how to use the indicators and multi-charts, how to set up your screens and stuff. What are my thoughts on weekly binaries for these weekly expectations? I wouldn't do it on a Sunday with Monday being a holiday. I would not do any weekly binaries. I like to wait and see what's going to happen on Monday, maybe Tuesday. So, you know, I generally don't enter unless it's a really good setup. There have been times I've been known to enter by Monday, but it's not typical for me. Oh, well, Douglas, we're going to start doing these, I think, every Sunday night at 7 p.m. just to kind of give us an overview. You know, again, you know, this is my longer term view, and I want to see my lower time frames, whether they're in retracement mode or whether they're in trending mode into the higher time frames. So I am learning how to do this. What training or advice would you recommend on learning binaries, Channing, or trading in general on Forex? I mean, the one thing I would do is start out with the book that I have on candlesticks and currencies that's available on Amazon. That's the first place I would start if I was new. It covers a lot of things I talked about and a lot more, Travis. You visit my website, Vivian, at tradershelpdesk.com. I do have 2 packages available there. I only do indicators for multi-charts, TradeStation, and NinjaTrader. I'm currently developing them for TradingView. Where can we get more definitive information on this type of trading? Visit my website would be the best way, Ken. Oh, thank you, Channing. I'm glad you're enjoying them. I do have a lot of videos, both on the Nadex site and on my YouTube site. Is a scanner available on NinjaTrade? Not to this degree, Martin. There is a scanner available, okay, but not to the degree that this one is. You have to, the difference with NinjaTrader, Martin, is the market analyzer is per time frame. So you would have a market analyzer 1 hour, and then you would have a market analyzer for 6 hours. Do you see what I'm saying? You can't put all of this in one market analyzer. But I do have market analyzers for NinjaTrader. They have the same function, I'll say that. But is it all within one window? No. Each individual market analyzer has its own window. But yeah, they do have the market analyzer in that one. Any other questions, guys? I do hope you'll sign up for next Sunday. We'll be doing it again at 7 o'clock. And I think next Sunday we'll go even more in depth because we don't have a holiday the next day. The holiday kind of put me off today, but that's okay. It was a great start, right? Any other questions, guys? I do want to thank all of you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful weekend trading. Well, thank you, Axel. Thank you, Bruno. All right, everybody have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you next Sunday.